In this video, I'm finally going to drive a car built in New Zealand. Yeah, it's the very British Austin A50 Cambridge. I'm also proving that it doesn't always stay sunny here in New Zealand. It is actually raining slightly upon me at the moment, but this is the Austin A50 Cambridge. It is one of many different makes of car built in New Zealand. They would have been sent over here as a CKD, completely knocked down kit, so a kit of spares, but importantly the body shell and all the wings are pressed because they did not have vehicle presses here, but they did have people who could put such cars together and nail all the bits in the right places. Usually there was a certain quota for how much of the car should be locally produced, so things like the interior often actually made in New Zealand, not sent here as part of the kit of spares. And since it's really starting to rain, I think going inside is all the appealing at the moment. Just wind the window up, look at the quick action on that. Oh. And if we shut the door, a proper shut the noise sound. So yeah, this is the interior of the Austin A50 Cambridge. These cars were built in the mid 1950s. I've had a Westminster, which is the A90, which used the 6-cylinder engine. In fact, if you've seen the TV drama Summer of Rockets, my old Westminster was actually the lead car in that. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was long gone. We have a column gear change here, and that's common to the Westminster as well. So generally it feels like my old Westminster, but a little bit cozier, because well, it is. The A50 is the smaller 4-cylinder version, so I think these used a 1.5 litre B series engine, which was up from the 1200 of the A40 Somerset, which came earlier. So yeah, 1489 cc I think these are, but this is all a bit off the top of my head. We've got a speedometer which optimistically goes up to 90 miles an hour. Chance to be a fine thing. A temperature gauge which I so far haven't seen, and a fuel gauge as you might expect. Otherwise we're a bit short on toys. We have got that great delicacy of Nuffield stuff of this time. Sorry, not Nuffield, BMC stuff of this time. It's the old flashing indicator stalk, which isn't a bad idea. You certainly know where the indicator stalk is, and at night it lights up the entire interior. The lenses for the oil and ignition light appear to be missing, but nonetheless they illuminate thusly, and importantly go out when you turn it off again. We've got a handbrake which I'm told isn't entirely functioning at the moment, so we've got it in first gear. I'll try and go through the gears, but it's put my foot on the brake, stop the car rolling away. So that's first there, it's away and up, and then it's down for second, let it come towards and back up for third, and down for fourth. Reverse is away and down, I think. I'm having a bit of difficulty finding reverse, so I better not get into a car park situation. So hopefully that's first, and I can take my foot off the brake and we won't roll away. All is good. I've just noticed we have got a little temperature gauge down here. I like the fact the display appears to be masking tape with some pen written on it. That's wonderful. There's also a motley collection of tools which may sum up what ownership of one of these cars is like. Always be prepared. Be prepared also for sandals. But look, we've got the gorgeous Austin Flying A on the pedals there, very much copied from Bentley's Flying B, I think. A little round throttle pedal with a very big spring on it by the feel of it. And of course we've got controls like this because they were originally set up for bench seats, but this one does seem to have separate front seats. And you know, a little glove box. There's a heater which seems to be permanently on, so that's making things toasty. We've got a little glove box which contains the book of the Austin A50, 55 and 60. This includes some wonderful choice phrases, like the brakes, if in good condition, should be powerful and should respond to a light pedal pressure. Nonsense. Especially having owned the Westminster, these things take some hauling down because they're big old solid cars. So yeah, that's the choke I'm guessing there, but it looks like the wrong cable. That's a starter cable out of something else, Morris Minor I would suspect, with the good old choke. I mean the peg, the closed peg is usually needed to keep the cable out. That's standard. P, I would assume, is your lights. You've got the headlamp switch is here, so side lights and headlights on that little setting, and wipers, and then the starter. So we will go through all these in time. Nature is going to help me on the wiper count, I think, by raining, so that's quite sweet. But yeah, I like how the mirror is kind of curved a bit, and that matches the fact the rear window is curved a bit. It's all a bit dated. There's a hub nut sticker, but you know, elderly and original, and very, very sweet. Yeah, I like the condition very much. It certainly isn't overly cherished. It's realistic. Various controls for heatering and stuff. And there's the dip switch. That's your main beam switch. Then there you operate it with your foot. So that's main beam on. That's main beam off. Handy things. Right, I'm going to quickly jump in the back. Well, despite the inclement weather, it is still warm and muggy, so I have to give you a knees alert as I pan the camera down. I will learn how to do it one day. There we go. Plenty of leg room behind me. The passenger seat is set a little further back, but that's comfortable enough for me. I'm happy with that. I've got a good amount of headroom. In fact, I could almost wear a hat in here. That's impressive. And of course I get a winding window as well, and it's like one turn is up and down. And I also get opening quarter lights as well, which I remember well. My aunt had a Morris Oxford Series 6 when I was a child, and I remember liking the opening rear quarter lights very, very much indeed. So yeah, I would say a good amount of space. We're taking the styling at the back. We've got these cow hips, very unusual styling, and not universally popular. The bosses of Austin were quite pleased with this. They had an Italian stylist, I'm going to jump back in because it's raining so hard, called Dick Bursey, and he liked this design. I mean, he would do, he designed it. But it was not universally popular, as I said. And there we go, Austin of England. I'm getting back in now. Oh. So yeah, as I was saying, Dick Bursey styled the cars, not universal favour. And in fact, the Duke of Edinburgh himself did a factory tour in about 55, I think, 55, 56. And he said, well, these cars don't look very good, do they? You know, it's not really what heads of state should do, but Austin was so shocked by these comments that they immediately sought the expertise of one Pinin Farina, and Pinin did his best to come up with the next range, which blatantly used the same styling for the Lancia Flaminia and Peugeot 404. But it added some style and panache to the Austin range, which was sadly lacking, and the Morrises as well. It must be said, some of those were a bit dumpy. Not all of them had the universal appeal of the Morris Minor. I'm going to leave under bonnet. We're going to have to come back to under bonnet and in the boot. But all this rain means we can at least pop the ignition on and pull the wiper switch. There we go. Excellent over that. No triangle of doom going on here, but the wipers do park in front of the driver, as was the preference at the time. It was felt that this gave a better view ahead of the road, I think. And I suppose with the wipers like this, there's a lot of unswept there on the passenger side. I don't know if there's a screen wash somewhere. I feel there should be. That's not it, is it? No, that's the reset the trip. So somewhere there's probably a screen wash. I don't know where. I'm struggling to remember. It's a long time since I owned my little Westminster, or quite big Westminster. Single speed. Yeah, I like how the whole panel moves. That's quite entertaining. Right, we'll get you in the mount and we'll go for a drive, and we'll look at the engine a bit later on. Right, here we go. Hold on a minute. Why have you got this, Chris? You haven't even got a CD player in here. I mean, I haven't seen one hiding somewhere. Tom Jones Sings Country. Ooh, slightly concerning, if I'm entirely honest. But nonetheless, I'm going to fix my seat belt. It does actually have them. My Westminster did not, which meant lots of fun trying to slide around on the leather seats. There we go, I'm in. I can pull that tag to tighten it. Don't want to tighten it too much or I can't reach the switch gear. Foot on the brake, clutch in, and we start the engine. That's a good engine performance. I'll put those on. I'm going to put the headlights on because it is so dim, and we shall go for a drive. We're already in first gear, I hope. Find the indicator. No, that's third. Frankly, why are first and second even there? Let's try that again, shall we? Self-cancelling indicators, a little too over-cancelly. Right, there we go. That should be first. There we go. Very low. Traffic here. Going downhill, there's no point to change out of third, really. There we go. Give the brakes a shove. Yeah, non-servo drums, they're not as powerful as that little pamphlet leads you to believe. Be able to open the window. I've got this huge wind deflector to hopefully keep me dry. Oh, a little uncomfortable over the speed humps. And there we go, we're in top gear already at 25 miles an hour or 40 kilometers. So I don't think we're going to be doing any motorway cruising today. Whoa, steering manages to be vague and then suddenly very, very direct indeed. Yeah. It's not the most powerful of engines. Be a single carb, I should imagine. No idea where I'm going at all. San Bernardino Drive, that sounds grand. And yeah, the Auckland suburbs spread out in front of me. But really, this is kind of perfect driving around little housing estates. It kind of feels appropriate for this car. Whereas driving around the motorway network, not so much. Why the wipers just go thump at the bottom of their travel. Stop. It's steering box steering, but it's good enough. It's not brilliant, but it feels quite tight on this one. Deploy all of the power. Yeah, that's I don't think that's worth trying to do a 0 to 60, to be honest. Honda SMX there, that's only the second one of those I've seen. Joyous little boxes. Go and have a search through my history. I did used to own one, and I liked it a lot, despite it being mostly hopeless. maybe because it was slightly hopeless. Well, no synchro mesh on first, remember. Indicators that side. So yeah, both hands are kept plenty busy, but never far from the steering wheel. I mean, look, there's the gear lever, right there. It's a mucky old day here in Auckland, which is good for the windscreen wiper fans. These are very charming and quite robust as well. They're tough old things. The metal they're made out of is very strong, much thicker than later cars. So yeah, they have a lot of rigidity to them. They don't have refinement, they certainly don't have great cornering manners, so I won't be punting it into bends. And the brakes are certainly slightly questionable, even at the best of times. But yeah, you can see people smiling as you drive along, so it's a good experience. But yeah, there's nothing that shouts that this is a New Zealand produced car. You know, it's even got Austin of England on the wings, as we saw. So yeah, it doesn't feel like I'm driving a foreign car. It feels like I'm driving a British car. Oh, that's it, just pulled straight out in front of me in your Nissan Tiida. We'll be stopping for the train. There is a train. That's the first passenger train I've actually seen in action since arriving here. I think this is the same gear pattern as the Nissan President I drove in the Netherlands, which yeah, certainly shows you the BMC heritage of those early Nissans. No flick wipe here. Maybe P's for panel lights, thinking about it. Very sharp clutch in first, so you have to be a bit careful with it. Heave the wheel around. When these cars were brand new, they were hardly cutting edge. They were okay for the time and sold quite well in the Commonwealth, and I'm afraid the British motor industry got very complacent and thought, oh look, we can make cars, they're successful, so they just kept making the same cars. And even though these cars were replaced by the much more stylish Farina range, under the skin little was changed. They even still used the same 1500cc engine at first. Isn't very wise at all. And even worse, those Farinas, which came out in December 58, I think, they were still in production in 1971. That's when production of that model range ended. And it didn't help, but of course Izagonis was tasked with designing the replacement for these cars, and what he came up with was the Land Crab, and that wasn't really the right car. That was entirely what Izagonis thought would be the right car, and that wasn't based on what customers wanted, it wasn't based on what the sales departments wanted. It was pure Izagonis folly, and it was so odd looking and ended up being so large with its transverse B-series engine that effectively it ended up creating its own class. So they kept the Farina models going to appeal to the more conservative buyer. So those Land Crabs really were a complete failure. I still want one very much. I don't know if they built land crabs over here. They certainly did in Australia, including a utility version, which is a very stylish vehicle. But ultimately, it was the fact that these cars just didn't evolve. You think Datsun started off by building these exact cars under license, but by the 1970s Datsun had moved on. It had got its own overhead camshaft engines and a new range of overhead valve engines too, whereas Austin was still producing the same stuff. Just comically outdated, really. None of which really matters, because this car is still lovely to drive, if not at all fast. Oh, can I upset? I'm trying to upset the... Oh look, 52! Woo! We have to get up to 52 kilometers an hour. Take it easy around these roundabouts. I don't fully trust the handling. Got simple leaf spring at the back. I believe it's double wishbone at the front, but I'm not sure it's a proper double wishbone. It's definitely coil springs at the front, leaf springs at the back, all very simple. But the steering is surprisingly light to someone who's driven an Austin Westminster. You'll note the centre is fixed, it doesn't move. That's quite a nice detail, I like that. And the horn doesn't work. Disappointing. But I feel they should have a proper parping horn. I don't know how you feel on the subject. Let's have a look under the bonnet then. We'll find the release. There we go. There we go. There is the dainty little B series engine with this tiny little carburettor. See the spark plugs accessible down this side. Some very old wiring, but you know, everything works. Quite a chunky radiator. I wonder if they did a bigger radiator for overseas. Oh well, Coventry radiators, so that's part of the kit that came over here. That's not locally produced. You would have thought that could have been, but I'm not sure all that much content in these early cars was locally produced. I think it is something that increased over the years. There's the wiper motor bolted to the side there, and the heater with his own little fan sucks air in through this channel along the bonnet. So that's that. If I lift the bonnet with my head, I can operate the clip that releases said bonnet. There we go, and we can drop it. Clang. I must say that the tow bar that sums up yeah, ambition quite a lot. But if I lift a really heavy tailgate, it's again got a similar latch on it. You can see it's actually got a decent amount of space in there. We've got the big starting handle so you can start it up. Huge screw jack if you need to lift it up because you've got a puncture. It's even got a shelf on top of the fuel tank for your umbrella. But yeah, it's quite spacious. I can see how that was seen as a good thing. So that is the Austin A50 Cambridge, the very definition of charming, I think. Such sweet little things. So yeah, thank you very much for watching my soggy drive round in the Cambridge, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell.